You are looking at brand new video of convicted murderer Daniel Miner surrendering to law enforcement after a 3-hour standoff. Miner is now in custody with the Morgan County Sheriff's Office.
Here's a close-up of what Miner looked like just seconds after he was placed in handcuffs. Authorities say he was, quote, distraught. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Naja Sherman.
And I'm Dan Schaefer. We have team coverage tonight. Way 31 Stephen Dilsizian and Shos Bedrosian have been at that scene since the very beginning. We start with Stephen Dilsizian with what went down exactly. Stephen?
Yeah, guys, the scene was a dangerous one here tonight. Officers on scene actually had us behind some of their officer vehicles as protection. They didn't know what this convicted killer could do to them or even us. In fact, the Madison County Bomb Squad even came out after Miner made threats that he had an explosive device. Now, the Morgan County and Coleman County Sheriff's Office repeatedly asked Miner to leave the house. You could hear them shouting through a speaker while outside the house. But Miner was not cooperating, so law enforcement used a different tactic. They shot tear gas into the house, multiple rounds of it, making it difficult for Miner to breathe and see. It was more than the escaped murderer could bear.
After trying to communicate for several hours, we were able to make entry by popping tear gas. And at that point, after several rounds of that, the individual did come out and is taken into custody.
Now, medics were on scene. They evaluated Miner after he left the house at that point in time. He is healthy in that regard. As for where he is right now, the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, they have him in custody, and they tell me law enforcement officials will be out here in the next couple of days evaluating the scene, evaluating the house to see what else they can try and find as they piece this case together. Reporting live in Falkville, Stephen Dilsizian, Way 31 News.
Thank you, Stephen. Many questions still remain, including why Daniel Miner was even at a work release center without having a job assignment. Way 31's Shos Bedrosian has been digging into his background. She learned more about the investigation from officials at the scene. Shos, what can you tell us?
Daniel Miner is finally back in custody after being on the run for nearly 5 days. And now investigators are trying to piece together how this inmate that was under the watch of the Department of Corrections was able to escape, end up 116 miles away from the Childersburg work release facility where he was being held. The convicted murderer never even had a job assignment because he wasn't eligible for one, but was still being held at a low-risk security work release facility. Tonight, Daniel Miner was found in a home on Pitts Road in Falkville, and investigators are trying to determine how he got here. A warrant that U.S. Marshals were following up on led investigators to this home. Once this became a tense, potentially very dangerous standoff, several other agencies assisted, like the Madison County Bomb Squad and SWAT team. It took nearly 3 hours to get Miner out of the home. Investigators described the murderer as being distraught when he finally surrendered.
Investigators will continue to see what brought him to this residence and then any acts that took place prior to this, as well as anything that happened tonight. We would assume that additional charges would come from that, in addition to the escape charges and the life sentence that he was already facing.
Now, I plan on asking the Department of Corrections tomorrow what steps they will make sure they will be taking to prevent a situation like this from happening again. And I'm also following up with them on documents I have filed about Miner's history in the incarceration under the Department of Corrections watch. But for now, reporting live in Falkville, Shos Bedrosian, Way 31 News.